All right, that was a pretty quick turnaround there for a match that features some interesting things. You know,
Yeah,
we get to say a long goodbye tonight.
yeah. So completely by happenstance, I took the first match, the only match that was between games, and we are going to bring you a lot of cards that are on their way out of Modern right now. Vinny here is playing his usual four-color Whirza deck, which he has been playing. As far as he's played it, he's 4-0'd the last three Modern Mondays, I believe.
And I think also part of it is because people play around Vinny playing cards that aren't in his deck
Yeah,
because Vinny's playing like the 3-month-old Urza deck.
yeah. He said he just never quite got around to updating it, so people play around Cryptic Command, and there's just no Cryptic Commands.
No cryptic commands, no counter spells, no Okos, but I've watched his opponents play around all those cards and like slow down a turn to, not just throw your, game-changing threat into something that turns it into an elk, which is kind of hilarious because I know Vinny ordered. He's really big into Russian cards and has a Russian connection, and ordered four Russian Okos that were supposed to be here like 2 months ago.
They haven't arrived
They
yet.
got sent back to Russia, and now they're on their way back here, just
Oh,
just in time. I
the
think,
world traveling Oko that never
yeah.
saw play.
I think they're coming this Friday, so now I'm just trying to convince Vinny to start playing a little bit more Legacy.
Yeah. I think, with the Oval Ban earlier, I was feeling like maybe Legacy was where it was at for me too. But of course, we should introduce the other side of this matchup. Jesse Ackerman is playing all three banned cards, soon to
Oh,
be banned cards. He's playing the Simic Urza deck with the Karn package. So we got a Lattice, we got some Opals, we got some Okos. What a mess.
if
We
you
shortly won't.
if you want to know why those cards are banned, it's because of this deck.
Let's take a little study.
uh, I for one, I feel really badly for Mox Opal players that were doing kind of fringier things like traditional affinity or even hardened
Lantern.
scales, lantern. But man, I'm not sad that all those things left. I can start to enjoy modern again.
I'm just gonna sit here and leave that one on the table. All right, Vinny, gonna start it off. Snow-covered island, Arkham's Astrolabe. Interesting discussions actually have been going around before we got the answers to what'll be banned about the role of perhaps banning Astrolabe versus unbanning Preordain. But first off, we're gonna have Jesse cast a turn one Thoughtseize. Looking at a pretty stocked hand here. Astrolabe, Thopter Foundry, Urza, Goblin Engineer, and another island. That is the combo. Goblin Engineer, Entomb, Sword of the Meek, play Thopter Foundry, play Urza game. I actually already have a Legacy deck, so getting into it isn't super bad. And I've also started moving some of my old promo foils just into duels, so slowly I will have
Yeah,
Legacy.
and I feel like that's something people do say about Legacy a lot is it's unaffordable. But if you already have modern decks, like let's say if you have modern blue-white control, you basically just need one Tundra to play Legacy blue-white control and four Force of Will. So you're looking at like $200,
Yeah.
$300. The price of price of
Less
a
than the
playset of Okos used to be.
less than the price of a playset of Mox Opals.
uh,
Force of Wills are up to 100 each, so they are what Mox Opals were.
yeah, and I feel like with cards, digressing a little from the game, but cards like that, a lot of times you can find them for cheaper if you're willing to pay cash on like Facebook groups and stuff. Like we see Force Wills for like 70 each go up on like different avenues, but we are not playing Force of Wills in this format, and I don't think we're playing Force of Negations either.
All right, Jesse here. Gonna run out Astrolabe, Bauble, Emery.
So do you think one of these, which deck is favored in this semi-mirror as a person that plays a lot of these cards?
It's not something I've played a ton just because the Wurza deck is so off meta right now. Um, I believe Jesse's not playing the build with quite as many counter spells. And counter spells are not incredibly effective against a deck that's interacting so much with its graveyard and has Goblin Engineer, so I actually might give it to Wurza here. Maybe. To think that through a little bit. But as we see Jesse cracking a bauble, likely to be recycled with that Emery. Vinny, he's got the pieces. Here's an Astrolabe. Can we find a land drop? Yes, we can. Thopter Foundry. Hitting the table. You
Is
have a
it going?
turn, Jesse.
Is it going to turn into an elk?
Oh, please no. We've had enough.
I don't. And also, what can happen is engineer can sack that to bring back the sword, and then sack the sword to
It's
bring back
true.
foundry. So once
Elks.
you have that engineer with the foundry out there, it's pretty hard to interact with.
Elks. No longer artifacts, but
I think I do agree with your assessment that like a more combo oriented deck is probably favored against this like kind of souped up mid range deck.
yeah. All right. Jesse gonna put that bauble back in play. Half a lantern, half a howling mine. Vinny's turn. Jesse picks up a couple extra cards. Do we have the land? Do we have the Urza? Do we have the Metallic Rebuke from Jesse if he's running it? We may not have the land. No. No.
Kind of just making a bunch of Thopters. That doesn't seem like the worst thing you could be doing.
Yeah. It's a pretty good backup plan. Mox Opal. Rip. I'm going to miss you, buddy. I'm going to miss you. I feel like the way that a lot of Phoenix players felt after the looting banning. Just, there are people who loved that deck and who like personally identified with that deck, and when it went, like I know some people were like deeply affected and still aren't over it, and kind of like that's where I'm at now. Like I was an Opal player and now I'm a bitter shell of a human being.
Yeah, I do feel more for you than I did for Phoenix players because it was such a new archetype. It had
Yeah.
only existed for like a year-ish or so, but Opal's been kind of pillar of the format card since the beginning.
Yeah. So it goes. Vinny gonna go ahead and start this train rolling. Does Jesse have something to say about it? Here's a Thopter. Trigger sword. I was not expecting the Opal ban a month ago. I didn't think it was a good idea, and I didn't expect it. I've been expecting the Oko ban for quite a while.
I was sort of expecting Oko and Urza, to be honest, but I was surprised it went for the mana accelerant there. But it has kind of been on the watch list for years. So.
Sure. I think, what gets me about it is I think the attitude of banning Opal is a little bit the attitude of banning looting, which is this has been broken over and over and over again. It's never going to stop getting broken. But the thing is, it was also a feature of a lot of different decks. Like, Affinity and Hardened Scales didn't deserve this. They were fair, they were fine. And building with Mox Opal is just interesting. The only thing I don't like about Mox Opal and Urza in the format is that it's really hard to justify playing blue without playing Urza and artifacts. And I think that was why there was some discussion. I think Sam Black and Emma Handy were having this discussion about, both talking about this, about unbanning Preordain as a way to incentivize blue without incentivizing artifacts, specifically due to the introduction of Arkham's Astrolabe. Just because. All right. Jesse's found an Assassin's Trophy to bust up this combo, kind of. So this is actually very good for Vinny, as it turns out, because this is going to give him the mana he needs to cast an Urza if he can find one. The first one was taken with a Thoughtseize.
I feel like we might have a. Let's see, how much mana do we have on Jesse's side available right now? 3? Is it?
I think the lattice ban is because it's just sort of a universal, no investment, big mana payoff. You have a lot of mana, you can just win the game. And I think that's why Lattice was banned. It's not interactive. The investment cost is relatively low. Um, all right, Jesse's gonna play that Mystic Sanctuary. Top, drown in the lock. Gonna go ahead and bobble. Gonna have it on Vinny's next turn,
Hmm.
which is gonna make it a little difficult for Vinny to resolve his spells. But I believe his graveyard only has 3 cards in it. Okay, sorry. That was Vinny's end step. We'll
Do you
talk a
see a
little more on it.
Tezzeret hanging out in Vinny's hand as well?
Vinny, one of my favorite Tezzeret players,
It
does
does
not
seem.
play the long game with that card.
Yeah, turn stuff into 5/5s and bash down seems pretty good.
Vinny has a response to Karn the Great Creator. Karn the Great Creator, pretty devastating for the Thopter Foundry combo. Not as devastating for Tezzeret. We're just going to make some Thopters, though.
Probably gonna make 4 Thopters.
It's a reasonable number. Sort of the munch, munch, munch. 4 life, 4 Thopters. Karn resolves.
Well, I guess if you're Jesse, you have to cast something, but I feel like that Karn's gonna be a tutor and then die situation here.
Yeah, yeah. Probably worth grabbing a Pithing Needle right now. Explosives on 0 will save Karn. We're going to uptick. We don't actually have... Oh, we do have the mana to blow explosives with the
Right,
Goose
so
and the
did
Opal.
we tutored and upticked?
No, we did not. The explosives was in hand.
Oh, okay.
We upticked to make a 1/1. I'm going to give it to Spring Misty here. I think the Devoted Druid combo is easier to interrupt than a Karn lock. Gonna have a
Vinny's thinking
thing.
about casting that Tezzeret.
Done.
It's pretty relevant that we got a Flying Goose as a blocker.
You are not wrong. Yeah, you've got the colors, Vinny. You got it. You got it. So here's Urza. 3 cards in graveyard. Can't drown it. Here's a construct. Karn in play. Gonna have to kill it off, though. Might have tried to attack down the Karn first, I think. Because blowing explosives here. So Jesse does this with the Urza still on the stack.
I think the trigger's on the stack.
Well, he doesn't wait for the construct to hit the battlefield.
Right.
I imagine he did it actually with the Urza on the stack so that Vinny wouldn't be able to tap all his tokens for mana.
Okay.
But I guess that saves him a spin. But if you do it afterwards, the construct, let's see, saves you a spin. Here's Goblin Engineer. Join the party. What are we going to go get?
I suspected Pithing Needle. A battle of main deck Pithing Needles.
That's my favorite game. Actually, my favorite game is turn 1 Metalcraft and having an extra mana.
Aww.
It's fine. Can move on. Maybe I can learn to build decks without Mox Opals. Vinny bins a Pithing Needle.
Okay, it's a Cryptic Command. It's usually the start of good things.
We've got Bauble, we've got Sanctuary, we've got Cryptic Command. Nothing tedious about this.
Is everyone having fun?
We are so close to the end of this. It just makes me happy we haven't seen a I won't even say his name.
It's true. Simian Spirit Guide has dodged all the bans.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to playing Ad Nauseam. See how y'all like it then.
I find ad nauseum matchups pretty fun.
I was actually, testing the Heliod combo deck reminded me of how much I actually really love playing combo decks because I've been playing this mid-range deck. I played the Paradoxical Outcome deck. Like I played a lot of those decks that have a lot of different, fair games to them. But there's something about playing a combo deck that's all about knowing what your opponent can do, and you're kind of playing their game backwards. The idea that combo decks are just solitaire, I think, is very wrong-headed. You're just trying to navigate around what your opponent's doing, and it can be a very fun puzzle. Karn's going to uptick again. We don't quite have mana for a Lattice Lock here.
Close.
Close. So he's deciding to uptick again.
I'm looking forward to Lightning Bolt being better than mediocre again. I think it's going to actually be pretty good.
Yeah. I think Urza will still be a factor. We'll see what people do with it. It'll be pretty interesting. I wonder if we'll just fall back to Whirza or if there will be attempts to continue weird control mid-range stuff. Cryptic Commander is a dex. I had a brew. There was a Karn Opal, big blue mana, lots of counter spells. I was excited to put Thassa's Intervention into it. I'm really excited for Thassa's Intervention, by the way. So Vinny here firing off a Thoughtseize. He's going to see what Jesse's working with. Apologies for running a little off topic on what we may have seen ad nauseum for several months.
Oh, okay.
Not that we've seen ad nauseum for several months.
Okay, we're casting the Cryptic Command. What's the second mode going to be?
Is it bounce Mystic Sanctuary?
Oh, I feel like we might be bouncing something on Vinny's side, like maybe Token.
Ooh, we're not bouncing anything. Have we stopped the lock? I think we have. So until Jesse finds another fetch land or another Mystic Sanctuary, that Cryptic is stranded. Could also find another Cryptic, but... Yes, Thassa's Intervention shares a key feature with Archmage's Charm, which is why I like Archmage's Charm, is that it's a counterspell that can't waste your mana. You can't get to the end of your opponent's turn with them playing nothing and waste your mana. Goblin Engineer here. Gonna pitch this Astrolabe. Gonna pitch this Sword of the Meek. Seems reasonable to have that one in the graveyard. Gonna stop a Karn lock before it happens. Jesse's holding a Metallic Rebuke, but it's not so good against Goblin Engineer. Kind of miss Goblin Engineer. Yeah, I think Greenback Yawgmoth is actually quite good right now. Yawgmoth jumped from a $10 to a $20 card overnight. Dredge is going to be great with Ox for sure.
Yeah, I just feel like the format's going to kind of open up, and you'll like strategies that got shut down by certain things like Urza, Oko are the decks that rose to the top to combat that, like Eldrazi, Tron. People, Burn I think is going to be pretty good.
If Burn's playable again. Yeah. Eldrazi, Tron, just like 4 Chalice of the Void and 56 slices of ham.
It's like you can't play Burn when there's a tier 1 deck main decking Chalice out there.
No.
And it even has a rough matchup. I feel like even to slightly, depending on how many counter spells are being played, a rough matchup against Oko or the decks too.
Yeah. Jesse's.
Is that an ensnaring bridge?
Yeah. We got a little loose. The needle's gone.
Did the bridge blow up the needle? Or not bridge, did explosives blow up the needle? Is that what happened?
Presumably, since I see there's an astrolabe in Jesse's graveyard, that would make a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
sense. So Emery went ahead and got back that explosives
Hmm.
from earlier in this game, so long ago, as we have ground. Little lost in
I
the
feel like
format
this
chats.
this match is kind of like watching baseball.
Yeah, and
There's a lot of room to talk,
yeah.
and then like a big thing will happen at a certain point, and then there's a lot of thinking, figuring out mana.
So this is what we won't miss. Vinny gonna figure out how to close this one out. Just gotta kill that Karn. That's all it takes.
Those are kind of little construct tokens over there. They're not very
Little
big.
buddies. Vinny's is a 4/4. Jesse's is a 3/3. Ensnaring Bridge is level 2. If there was an Oko on board, there would be an Ensnaring Elk. I guess on Vinny's side. Throw an Oko on board.
Ooh,
Vinny's going to pass it back. Jesse's going to pick up another card. What
curious
do
why
we
we didn't
have?
spin Urza there.
Mm,
Is there a reason not to?
no, don't think so.
Because I know Vinny's not playing a lot of instant speed interaction.
Yeah, it's been pretty safe. Jesse's going to down tick. You do not actually have to pick your target. Jesse's going to down tick. Go for the lattice. In a matter of hours, there will be no more lattice.
My least favorite vegetable.
It's pretty. I can't call it like my least favorite vegetable. I have no like hatred for lettuce, just no particular fondness. It's kind of
Oh yeah,
fluff.
I sort of view Mycosynth lattice as like the iceberg of, it's just like a generic thing that is in all the decks that have Karn. Like,
Yeah.
it's
It
not,
eats the game. You feel nothing.
nope.
Ooh, I love it. Lattice on the stack. Vinny flits a red. Lattice resolves. Blast your Karn. And now we're infinite. Pachoo! Nicely navigated, Vinny. So if you are not familiar with this play pattern, not that you will ever need to be again, if you let the lattice actually resolve, the Karn becomes an artifact. Oh, we didn't need to. That was a Galvanic Blast anyway. But if you're ever holding a Nature's Claim and you really want to get them.
Oh, we did it.
We did it. Vinny
So,
takes it
yeah.
down. This is actually going to take the match to 1-1.
All
But
right.
we are pretty much out of time here. We are exactly out of time here. So they're going to
Players.
finish this one as a draw. Who's surprised?
uh,
All right. So we can.
what artist?
Hmm?
Uh,
There's. It's a draw. They're trying to figure it out, but it is a draw. So actually, Travis has paid me the $20 he owed me.
it's true. Okay, so I took one for the team, everyone in chat. I made a bet with Urchin. Some mild amount of alcohol may have been involved. But I've been pretty despondent about Wizards of the Coast's decisions this past year, and I didn't think they were going to ban Oko because I thought they want to keep selling Eldraine packs until Theros had been out for a while. But then I knew if I made a bet that I'd feel like great if I lost the bet and I basically spent $20 to get Oko banned. But I feel a little bit guilty because I didn't mean to get all the other stuff banned, and I feel like I spent $20 and got Mox and
Well,
Oko and Lattice banned, and I'm really sorry about the Mox there.
I'm going to show you all the $20 later. I'm very excited about this $20. It means more to me than the more than $20 I lost on my Opal.
Yeah, I guess we both were losers in that situation, right? You lost the value of Opal and I lost $20, but everyone else won.
I lost so much more. I lost my identity. Anyway.
I'm excited to commentate on matches that don't involve Oko now half of the time. 'Cause that was
Absolutely.
getting a little bit much.
You know, It was again not intentional that I went and grabbed this match. They were the only ones between games. I'm kind of trying to find decks with cards that we're gonna say goodbye to unless they're Oko, because I've already said goodbye.
Yeah.
I've been saying goodbye for months.
It's like the partner that you break up with that
Who
like
just won't leave you
keep
alone.
showing up at your house because they forgot something and
They won't stop texting you. Like you've tried. You've been very clear.
I know I don't want to go get coffee again. I'm done
Uh,
with this.
no, I'm not thinking about you, and I didn't want to know you were thinking about me, Oko. Um,
Huh.
yeah, no, the multiverse is worst fuckboy.
Yeah,
That's
agreed.
all I can say.
Well, on that note,
We're gonna
we're
take
going
a
to take
little
a little
break.
break. We'll be back here with round number 2 of 4 on Modern Mondays at Guardian Games in a couple minutes.